Hey guys, my name is Sharon and I'm from Israel. Now wait, before you get all pissed off and turn off this video, please hear me out for a second. I know you hear about us all day long on your TV channels and news, and you're probably sick and tired of it. Well, I get you, but mostly you hear about the situation in Gaza. They show you horrific pictures of dead women and children lying in the streets, and they tell you how the IDF Air Force have been firing at the Gaza Strip for the past 3 weeks and that this is the result. Well, I don't blame you for getting angry. I don't blame you for thinking that Israel is the worst and for wanting to save all those kids in Gaza. And basically, I don't blame you for blaming Israel. You know why? Because I believe that if I were you, if I was sitting in your sofa watching CNN and BBC and hearing all the things they tell you, I'm sure I would feel the same as you. I'm sure I would blame Israel also. But the problem is that you get all your information from the media. And please, if you consider yourself a reasonable, intelligent, thinking person, I'm sure you know that the media is not objective, that the media chooses sides, and it chooses what to show us and how to show it to us, and it basically can infect our minds and change our whole perspective on things. And I can give you a small example that at the beginning of the operation, when both Hamas and Israel agreed on a 12-hour ceasefire, that was, by the way, a humanitarian ceasefire arranged only to the benefit of the Palestinians, well, Hamas were the ones who started firing back at Israel after less than 6 hours. Hamas broke the ceasefire that was arranged only for its people. Then, of course, in response, the Israeli Air Force started firing back at the Gaza Strip. But CNN decided to report on their website, and I quote, "Ceasefire attempt ends as Israeli airstrikes resume." Now, you can understand that is completely wrong, and the person reading this has no way to get to the truth. And this is just a small example out of the thousands of examples I can give you, but I'm sure you get the point. So, here's a chance for you to hear another perspective, to hear the voice of someone living here in Israel, and find your own answers. That is, if you're interested in that and not being fed only by what the media wants to show you. So, well, my truth is that I feel terrible for the people living in Gaza. I do. And so are all my friends and family and basically every Israeli person I know. We are not happy that Palestinian citizens are dying. Of course not. And we feel bad for them mostly because they are ruled by a terror organization. A terror organization that harms and destroys their lives above all. And it does that by putting the destruction and death of all Israeli people as their main goal, while benefiting their own people isn't even a goal in their agenda. On the contrary. Do you know that the children in Gaza are being brainwashed since birth against Israel instead of getting educated? The Hamas is putting guns in the hands of 4-year-olds, teaching them that the only purpose in life is to kill Jews. Do you think Hamas is thinking of those children by doing so? Does it want to benefit them and provide them with a better future? Of course not. Hamas is using those children to get more power and to turn as many people as possible into terrorists. Hamas is using its children and it's using its citizens. And this is what pisses me off, and that's what should piss you off as well. Do you realize that since Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip 9 years ago, evacuating all its Israeli citizens living there, for the Palestinians to thrive, to rebuild themselves, the Palestinian government did absolutely nothing for its people? The Hamas dedicated all its resources in turning Gaza into a terror land, in building underground tunnels, in creating missiles and rockets, in filling houses and hospitals and mosques in weapons and explosives. They took all the money they received from the US, for example, not in turning the Gaza Strip to the Singapore of the Middle East as they declared, but to complete one goal only, their only goal since the creation of Hamas, the destruction of Israel. So of course I feel bad for the Palestinian people. I feel terrible for them. And of course you don't see these kind of pictures here in Israel, because there's only one reason, because the Israeli government spends its money, invests its money in defense, in protecting its people. The Israeli government uses an enormous chunk of our national budget in planning and creating one of the most advanced defense systems in the world, and that is how Iron Dome came about. And Iron Dome is the reason why I'm still alive, and why my house is still standing, and why you don't see a picture of me lying dead on the streets. Because believe me, there have been thousands of rockets fired in my direction for the past 3 weeks. But my government does everything to protect me, and Israel is not going to apologize for that. We are not going to apologize for doing everything in our power for protecting our people. And we wish Hamas would have done the same. But I'm sure even after you hear all this, I'm sure you still ask yourself, why doesn't Israel do everything in its power to prevent innocent people in Gaza from getting hurt? Well, the simple answer is that it does. The IDF is literally doing everything it can. It makes thousands of phone calls every day. It sends thousands of flyers just to let citizens know that their house is about to be bombed and that they should evacuate. The fact that Hamas is forcing those people to stay in their homes and be human shields, well, that we cannot control, unfortunately. The IDF even informs people to leave their entire neighborhood before a ground invasion is about to take place, which means risking our own soldiers in the process, because then Hamas knows our plans and will wait around the corner, and we still do that. Israel has built a field hospital near the border of Gaza only to take care of injured Palestinians. What other country in the world have you seen do that? Treats and cares for their enemies at the time of war? Well, that is because the Palestinians aren't our enemies. The Hamas is. And believe me, the Israeli people know that with all the measures that are taken to prevent innocent people from getting hurt, we know people are getting hurt in Gaza. We know there are innocent people. But can you honestly tell me that our soldiers shouldn't shoot back at the house from which they are getting shot from, just to prevent from hurting civilians that shouldn't even be there in the first place? If someone would shoot right at you with an intentional desire to kill you, you wouldn't fight back? The fact is that if Israel would be any more humane to the Palestinians than it is now, then it would simply cease to exist, because we could not defend ourselves and Hamas would get what it wants, the destruction of Israel. The sad truth is that Israel simply cannot do anything more for the Palestinian people, besides, well, taking down Hamas, freeing Gaza from Hamas, and that should be your goal also, because by that maybe we can provide them with a better, more optimistic future, with the hope that a more peaceful government will rise there instead. You see, I can tell you without a single doubt in my mind that Israel and its citizens want to live in peace with the Palestinian people. We just want peace. But the problem is that the terror organization that controls Gaza at the moment declares in the most direct and open way that it is not willing to live side by side with Israel, that it does not recognize our right to live here in peace, my right to live here in peace. And above all that it would continue to resist, in their words, which means they would continue dedicating their lives and their children's lives in the death and destruction of Israel, in killing every single one of us. Now you tell me, how am I supposed to go to sleep calm when these are the leaders of my neighbors? How is Israel supposed to negotiate with these kind of people? I have so much more I want to say. I didn't even start telling you about how it is living here in Beersheba under the constant threat of missiles and rockets. How it is having to run to shelter in under the 45 seconds once you hear the alarm. And I didn't even begin telling you how the media is cooperating with Hamas by showing you these pictures, these terrible pictures. How it cooperates with Hamas and encourages it to keep using its people as human shields because it's gaining support from the world. But you know what? I know it's already too much to bear, so I'm gonna stop here. And my only request for you is, if anything I said managed to touch you in any way, my only request for you is that you don't take everything you hear and see as it is. That you question everything and find your own answers. Don't let the media feed you with what it desires. that you try and see the whole picture and not just the pictures they show you. Good luck in finding your answers, and thank you so much for hearing my voice. Peace to everyone.